Just the Facts, Writing Your Own Research Report by Nancy Leowen. A research report is a special kind of writing assignment. You don't tell a story, you don't make things up. In fact, writing is one of the last steps in putting together a research report. First, you'll need to pick a topic. You'll learn what experts have to say about your topic. You'll take notes. You'll organize facts. And when you're done with those steps, then you'll write. Writing a research report is a challenging task, but a fun one too. By the time you've finished a report, you'll be a mini expert yourself. Polar bear is losing its home because of global warming. Vampire bat drinks blood. Platypus has a weird bill, lays eggs. Koala, cute. Python, up to 33 feet long and can swallow a goat. Tool 1. Every research report starts with a topic. Pick one that interests you. The more interested you are, the more fun it will be. Make a list of possible ideas. Then start narrowing it down. Look up a few quick facts if you're not sure about your choices. Tool 2. The research begins. Books, magazines, and newspapers are good sources of information. So is the internet. You might even talk to a person who's an expert on your topic. If you use the internet, make sure your sources are trustworthy. Look for well-known websites. If you're not sure, ask your teacher or librarian. Try for at least 3 sources. If a book or article is too difficult or too easy, put it aside and try to find something more fitting. Don't worry about your report the first time you read your sources. Just enjoy learning about your subject. Tool 3. Once you're familiar with your topic, start brainstorming. Write down all the questions you might want to answer in your report. You probably won't be able to include everything in your report, but that's okay. Where do platypuses live? What do platypuses look like? Do platypuses have enemies? What do platypuses eat? Do female platypuses really lay eggs? How many eggs do they lay? How long do platypuses live? Are platypuses endangered? What sound do platypuses make? How big is a platypus? Do platypuses swim? Do they walk? Are platypuses active in the day or night? Tool 4. The next step in writing a research report is to take notes. Index cards make note-taking easier. Write one of your brainstorming questions at the top of each card. As you reread your sources, record the answers to your questions on the cards. You might need more than one card per question. Include the name of your sources on your index cards, as well as page numbers or website addresses. If any questions come up later, you'll know exactly where to look. Where do platypuses live? Tasmania and Eastern Australia, platypus, page 10. Besides streams, rivers, and lakes in eastern and southern Australia, stretching from Queensland down to Victoria and Tasmania. A Platypus's World, pages 3 and 22. What do platypuses eat? Insects, larvae, shellfish, and worms. NationalGeographic.com. Worms, insects, fish eggs, water plants, shrimp. A Platypus's World, pages 3 and 6. Tool 5. Writing your report will be easier if you plan ahead. An outline will help you do this. An outline lists the ideas of a report in the order they'll be presented. Some outlines are very simple. The examples here on the left is a simple outline. It lists general ideas rather than specific facts. Other outlines are detailed, like the ones on the right. Use the type of outline that works best for you. Introduction, riddle, where the platypuses lives, how big it is, the snout, the tail, the feet, how the female lays eggs, baby platypuses, conclusion. Introduction. Riddle. What has a bill like a duck, a tail like a beaver, and feet like an otter? Not a joke. Strange mammal, but actually makes sense. Habitat and appearance. Lives near lakes and streams in Australia and Tasmania. About half the size of a cat. Brown, waterproof fur. Active mostly at night. Snout, dark rubbery skin, tiny holes with nerve endings. Nerves sense motion. Help find food. Uses bill to dig up food. Eats worms, insects, shrimp, fish eggs. Tail. Flat and wide like a beaver's, but is covered with fur. Uses tail and hind legs to steer while swimming. Uses tail to carry away dirt from digging. You've picked your topic, you've done your research, taken notes, and made an outline. It's time to write. What has a bill like a duck, a tail like a beaver, and feet like an otter? This question sounds like a joke, but it's not. The answer is a platypus. The platypus is one of the strangest mammals on our planet. But when we take a close look, we can see that this odd animal makes sense. Tool 6. The first paragraph in the research report is the introduction. The introduction should do two things. It should get the reader's attention in some way, and it should state what the report will be about. This introduction begins like a riddle. It hooks us. We know that the platypus is different from other mammals, and we want to keep reading to find out why. Platypuses live near lakes and streams in eastern Australia and the island of Tasmania. They're about half the size of a cat. They have brown, waterproof fur, and they are mostly active at night. Tool 7. The body is the main part of a research report. It is usually 3 or more paragraphs. The body includes the most important information about the topic. It is a good idea to provide some basic information early in your report. In this paragraph, we find out where platypuses live. We find out how big they are, too. If we didn't learn those things right away, we might wonder about them throughout the report. Tool 8. The first sentence in a paragraph is called a topic sentence. It lets the reader know what will be talked about in that paragraph. It's like a mini introduction. After the topic sentence, every sentence that follows should add detail. Here, the topic sentence introduces us to the platypus's bill. The most unusual part of a platypus is its bill or snout. The bill is covered with dark rubbery skin. It has tiny holes all over it. Inside the holes are nerve endings. These nerves sense motion. They help the platypus find its food. Platypuses use their bills to dig up food from the mud. They eat shrimp, worms, fish eggs, and insects. The platypus has a flat, wide tail. It's shaped like a beaver's tail. The tail is covered with fur. The platypus uses its tail and hind legs to steer while swimming. The platypus also uses its tail to carry away dirt when digging a burrow. Fat is stored in the tail too. The fat gives the platypus extra energy during the winter months when there is less food. Like otters, platypuses have webbed feet. The platypus's front feet are like paddles. They help the platypus swim. On land, the webbing folds up between the platypus's claws. The platypus's short legs are on the side of its body. The platypus is a good swimmer, but a slow walker. As you write your report, remember what you promised your reader in the introduction. Do your best to stay on track. So far, we've learned how the platypus uses its strange tail, feet, and bill. We see that the platypus does indeed make sense. Tool 9. Sentence variety makes a report more interesting to read. Start your sentences in different ways. Sentences often begin with the nouns the platypus or pronouns she, he, it, or they. That's fine. Just don't start all your sentences that way. See how the third and fourth sentence in the first paragraph are different from the rest? That's an example of a sentence variety. This mammal has another very strange feature. It lays eggs. In spring, the female makes a long tunnel with a burrow at the end. Using her tail, she brings in leaves and reeds to line her burrow. She lays 1 to 3 small leathery eggs. She keeps the eggs warm for about 10 days. When the baby platypuses hatch, they are blind and hairless. They're called puggles. They drink milk through tiny holes in their mother's skin. The puggles are fed by their mother for about 4 months. Then they leave the burrow and start learning how to catch their own food. Tool 10. The last paragraph in a research report is the conclusion. Remind the reader of your main points. If possible, go back to an idea in your introduction. Bring your report to a pleasing close. When the platypus was first seen by Europeans in 1798, people thought it was a prank. They couldn't believe that the creature was real, but now we know better. The platypus might look strange, but its bill will help it find and catch food. Its tail and webbed feet help it to swim and dig burrows. The platypus is no joke. Tool 11. Revision is an important part of all good writing. Pretend you're reading your report for the very first time. Are your facts presented in an order that makes sense? Are you missing any important facts? Or have you included facts that aren't needed? You might need to cut, add, or move information. Tool 12. When you're happy with how your report is put together, it's time to proofread. Check your spelling, make sure your commas, periods, and other punctuation are used correctly. Tool 13. The final step in writing a research report is a bibliography. A bibliography lets the reader know where you got your information. Bibliographies can be written in many different styles. Ask your teacher for help, or you can follow the example on the next page 27.